What is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you while you're on a cleaning job? That's an interesting question, and we're going to talk about that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's show is brought to us by Savvy Cleaner Training, which is a training program that trains house cleaners and maids. And there's an entire safety program that we teach based on a couple of the experiences that I myself had. One of the scariest things that ever happened to me on a job, and this goes back way back to the beginning of my career, I was doing multiple jobs at the same time. So instead of just cleaning houses, I was cleaning houses and babysitting and pet sitting and doing a couple of other specialty projects because I needed the money. So this was a babysitting job, and then after the kids had gone to bed, the agreement was that I would clean their house and tidy everything up because the mother had to go to the hospital for some reason. And when she came home from the hospital, the dad wanted the house clean and everything organized. So I accepted this babysitting / house cleaning job. And this is 25 years ago. This is a long time ago. Back in the days when the telephones had the cords that were attached and the telephones were attached to the wall. All right, so I was right after dinner time and I was with the kids. The kids had not had their baths yet. We'd been playing outside. The kids were hot and sweaty. We ate dinner. We were getting ready for the baths when the dad burst into the door with another man at gunpoint. And I was absolutely freaked out. And I realized in that moment, I'm not trained for whatever comes next. I don't know what to do next. So I grabbed the kids and we ducked onto the other side. We were still in the kitchen. We ducked on the other side of the countertop so that we were shielded by the countertop, and the dad and his friend were on the other side. Now, I think it was a drug deal. I don't have all the facts. I don't actually know. But I do know something went wrong, and now the dad is at gunpoint. And when the dad saw me there with the kids, he was able to get the guy back outside. As soon as he got the guy back outside, I dove for the telephone and I called the police. I just dialed 911 and I told them where I was. I did not even know the address that I was at. So I tried to explain where I was, and I said, there are two guys outside right now. One of them has a gun. I said, one of them is the dad of the kids that I'm babysitting. I need you to come quick. And they said, okay. And based on where the location landmarks I gave them, they were there within about 5 minutes. So they were able to find their way in spite of the fact that I did not know the address. That was a really scary time for me because it taught me a lot of things. One of the things that it taught me was you always need to know the address of the place you are staying in the event that there is an emergency. You need to have it on your person or on your worksheet at all times. Because if something like that happens and you have to call 911 for whatever reason, it could be that an elder person that lives in the house had a stroke, or it could be that a child was injured or something happened. Anything could have malfunctioned, but you need to know the address of where you're staying. The second thing that I would recommend is you need to learn not to panic. There are situations like this. Of course, my blood just started boiling immediately, and I went into almost a fight or flight mode where my mind just goes blank, and it's hard to stop and focus, and what number am I supposed to call, even when you know it's 911. And so the goal is to remember to breathe. So if you find yourself in a bad situation, whatever that might be, just stop and slow down and breathe long enough that you get oxygen to your brain so you can think clearly. Another thing that you might consider is on your person carrying mace. In all of the years that I've been cleaning, I've only ever had 3 or 4 encounters where I could have used mace. I've never actually used it, but there are a couple of times I could have. And I'm glad that I had it on my person just in case. It could be a rabid dog. It could be a person that's coming on to you. The world is now full of crazy folks. I don't know why. I'm sorry that's the case. It's not as safe as it once was. And so you do need to take necessary precautions. Now, for the thousands of homes that I've cleaned, most of the time, they're just normal everyday people. It's a normal everyday customer. You show up with your cleaning supplies. You go in and within a minute or two, even if they have a bad dog or an aggressive animal, you can work that out and be kind and speak in soft tones and let everything know that, hey, it's okay, everything's going to be all right. Most of the customers are manageable. I mean, it's very, very rare that something weird malfunctions. There are a couple of other circumstances that come to mind that were unlucky situations of the similar nature, but it comes back to this. Keep your wits about you at all times. When you go inside a person's house, make sure that all of the doors are locked and you are locked inside. You don't want the doors and windows to be open where other people can gain access to a house that you are technically in control of. So you want to make sure that you cover all of those bases. If you have Mace on your person, you have a car key. I always keep my car key on my person so that in the event that I have to run out and bolt, I'm not just locked outside stranding where somebody can come out and attack me, right? I have a car key, I go get in my car, I drive away. Make sure I've always, since we have cell phones and they're not the great big kind that you used to hold in your hand and they were like a big brick, the smaller ones, ever since we had the smaller cell phones, I've always had one. For me, it was a business safety issue. And so if I have my cell phone, and right now I have it, it's on me in my pocket. I have it on me at all times. If you need to call 911, you have it at your fingertips. So it's right there. So the rule of thumb is always get yourself to safety as quick as possible. Breathe, slow it down long enough to breathe. Think through what's happening. What is happening? And do I need to call the police? And if you see something, say something. Okay? There are times when you have to call the police. In this particular situation with the kids were in danger. I don't know what's going to happen next, but there's a man with a gun and he has access to the house. That's not a good situation. And so I was forced to call the police for this scenario. I didn't want to give the dad a police record if he didn't already have one. I have no idea what was going on, but I knew our lives in that moment were in danger. That's it. That's all I know. So you don't need to know all the different elements of the story. All you need to know is say, hey, I was concerned. I'm calling the police. Okay, everything's fine. The police can work it out with the dad, right? So if you see something, say something. And please be careful when you make calls to the police. If it had been something lesser, like maybe just the door was broken, maybe I wouldn't have called the police. But you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your gut instinct. And if you feel in danger, then you must call for help. All right, so that is one of the scariest things that ever happened to me while I was cleaning a house, while I was on a job. And this also included babysitting, which added another element of just house cleaning. It wasn't just the person's house, it was the children I was trying to protect as well. All right, that's my 2 cents for today. I hope something like this never happens to you. If it does, I hope you're prepared. All right, until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.